Yeah, I don't think Reebok are going to really like me too much with this review. So this is the Reebok Floatride Run Ultraknit, which is definitely a mouthful. Now, interestingly, Reebok have not really been playing heavily in the running shoe market for quite some time. Yeah, they've obviously had lots of, sports type shoes, but proper serious running shoes, not so much. Which maybe is not surprising, because if you didn't realise, Adidas own Reebok, and obviously Adidas have been having a phenomenal time with their Ultra Boost and all of their running shoes, and I would imagine at a board level meeting they didn't want Reebok encroaching onto their sales. So it's like, well, if Reebok are going to come in to the running shoe market, it needed to come in with a product that is very different to the Ultra Boost shoes. They didn't want one cannibalising the other. I imagine, I wasn't there, but that's how I perceive it. So clearly Reebok thought, well, we want to get into that, we want to make some money, they're a company, of course they do, so they had to come up with something very different. Introduction, here we go. And this is a very different type of shoe. You've got this sort of knitted or ultra knit upper, but it doesn't go around the whole of the shoe. You've got this very interesting, that's being polite, sort of synthetic material here. Then you've got this cage for the lacing, and then you've got their Floatride upper. And if you believe all the hype, this has had input from NASA and it's the best thing since sliced bread and all of that malarkey. It is a neutral cushioned shoe, and for me, for a size UK size 11, it comes in at 291 grams. So it's not, it's not heavy, it's not light, and it's a shoe that they really want to compete with this. This is the shoe that this is right up against, and this is the Adidas Ultra Boost. I absolutely love this shoe. I've run in it, I've worn it casually. I think this is an absolutely fantastic shoe. So how is this going to fare against this? That is a good question. The basics, as I say, is a cushioned neutral shoe. It's an 8mm heel to toe drop, and I think, well, let's get into the detail. Let's get into what's great and what's not so great. And let's start off with the things that are great. For a start, I like innovation. I like the idea they're trying to create something new, they're trying to do something different. That's excellent. The styling, yeah, it depends on the colours. I think I would have liked this sort of yellowy green to be a little bit more punchy, but I'm maybe being a little bit picky there. The cushioning, this new cushioning material, it's really soft. I think it's slightly softer than the Ultra Boost. It's got a little bit more squidge to it, although I don't think it has quite the energy return. I mean, I don't have scientific equipment to measure these things. That's just how it feels to me. But the actual cushioning is really nice. If you want to grind out a long run, this type of material, I think this is going to be in a lot of shoes coming up from Reebok in the future. And deservedly so. It is a very good cushiony type material. And it fits true to size. I'm a size UK 11. I put this on straight away. I thought, yep, that's a nice fit around the toe box. Good room there for your feet to splay. Yeah, that's about it for the things that I like. It's definitely not all fireworks and sparklers. Things that I don't like. Because to me, this shoe feels more like a prototype. It feels like they needed to spend a lot more time running it, testing it, working out its quirks, working out its issues and finessing them. It doesn't feel like they did that. Let's start off with the ride. This does not really have much stability. Now I know it's not a stability shoe, but this is not a stability shoe either. This rides brilliantly. This does not. They talk about these, I can't remember, I think there's a rim or something. There's this kind of plasticky material goes around here, goes right around the shoe, and I can't remember the words they use on their website, but basically whatever marketing bump they come up with, think of it more as a guide rail where the shoe just doesn't have enough stability. It kind of leans. To me, it felt like it was sort of leaning in a little bit, and I think this rail is what it feels like. This guide rail here is really just to try and stop your foot from, well, just doing all sorts of things. It just wasn't a smooth ride. When you compare it to the Adidas, the Ultra Boost, which to me rides brilliantly, although I often wear a stability shoe, I'm happily running in that, had no issues with the ride, had no issues with how the foot went through the foot strike and how you then went on to the next. This did not feel good. Also, I don't know if I can get this noise, but quite often it creaks, it makes a creaking noise. I don't think the mic's gonna pick that up, so it makes weird noises. The cage, to be frank, this sort of lace cage thing, this feels like, well, not nice. And you've also got this weird thing at the back here where the rear section of the shoe does not feel joined up to the front section of the shoe, which it's not. It is completely independent. So it doesn't feel like it's all as one, which obviously it's not, but you can feel that. You don't want to feel that. That's why most shoes are all one piece, because your foot's all one piece. So the idea that they thought, oh yeah, that's a good idea, we'll split the upper in two. I don't really know why. These lacing, there's no way that you can, you know, do like a lace lock technique because the cage isn't built that way. And to be frank, these shoelaces really look like the same shoelaces I had on my 1970s school shoes. I don't think 1970s school shoes are the height of fashion, and they just look a bit but ultimately it just, oh, and also by the way, you've got the outsole, the rubber here. This is not quite either deep enough or wide enough to cover or reach around to the midsole. So the midsole is, having done a few runs, is now breaking down where the rubber doesn't reach it. I mean, literally it's all sort of, you know, around the heel here, it's all going a bit horrible. Again, if we compare this to the Adidas, you will see none of that, because the Adidas outsole reaches effectively around all of the midsole. So the midsole is fully protected, whereas with this, not so much. So consequently, you have the breakdown, which is just disappointing. Makes you wonder, well, how's this going to look? I mean, I've done about 50 miles in these shoes, and already this is looking pretty ropey, whereas the Adidas, to me, still looks really good. And I wear that, I've run in it and I wear it a lot casually. I don't wear these casually. I don't mind the looks to wear them casually. I just don't find it very comfortable to spend loads of time in. I mean, I've actually been having to kind of make myself run in these so that I have actually put enough miles in to stand in front of a camera and talk to you guys about it. But ultimately, it's disappointing. I think if you are a good forefoot striker, you might not notice so much the ride and how the foot transitions. I imagine if you're a forefoot striker, it's probably not a bad shoe. I also found the upper section here a little bit on the tight side, but even if you are a forefoot striker, I mean, this is, I don't know, like a £120 shoe, $120, whatever. Why would you buy this over the Adidas Ultra Boost? It's definitely not better. For me, it's pretty much worse in, I would say, almost every single area. The cushioning, you could argue, that's going to be your taste. You might prefer the cushioning in this, you might prefer the cushioning in the Adidas, but in every other way, I think the Adidas is a better shoe. So why would you spend your money on this? It's not a terrible shoe, it's not awful, it just needs loads more work. I just think it's a great prototype, and if Reebok had spent another 6 months getting it out, getting the prototypes out, getting people running in them, and then coming back and saying, this doesn't fit very well with this doesn't feel very nice, this doesn't work here, what about if you want a lace lock, what about this, sometimes this noise, this creaking noise you get, what about, you know, the outsole not covering all of the midsole or protecting it. And if they'd have worked on it, it probably would have been quite a good shoe. As it is, for me, it's a 3-star shoe. It's not terrible, it's certainly not great, Certainly not worth all the hype that I keep on seeing on the internet for it, with everyone making out that this really is just like the most awesome thing ever. It really is not. It's just an average shoe. So yeah, with that, if you're going to buy one, I'd try it on and try other shoes as well. Go to your local running shop, try this, try some others, see how you get on. I'd be surprised if you pick this. But with that, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.